We've got a Shark Tank billionaire who got roasted for a very bizarre take he decided to post on the internet. So I'm a fan of Shark Tank, and if you've watched it before, you will know Kevin O'Leary, who's also known as Mr. Wonderful. Not quite sure why, but he's one of the Shark Tank hosts, the bald guy, and he is a very successful businessman, obviously. But he tweeted the following, and you and I are both pretty hardcore capitalists, but even I was like, what, WTF, dude? He said, "You may lose your wife, you may lose your dog, your mother may hate you. None of those things matter. What matters is that you achieve success and become free. Then you can do whatever you like." Excuse me, sir? Huh?
What? That was my reaction too. Look, I love to work hard, and I do. I work around the clock. I'm a pretty uptight type A person, and yet I still have my family intact. I still have my dog. I still have a relationship. I don't understand why these things need to be sacrificed, or how, if you achieve success, you're free. You're free to what? Sit there by yourself because you've driven everybody else away? Like, I don't understand what his point is here. I'm really confused.
No, me either, because I'm all about financial success and working hard and capitalism, and I think greed or self-interest can be harnessed for good in free markets. There's nothing wrong with wanting money, wanting to be rich, but it's not the only thing that matters. Like, if you're rich but your family doesn't talk to you and your dog is dead or ran away or whatever,
what happened to the dog? What happened to the
dog, Kevin? You were so busy hustling, you didn't have time to feed your dog as kibble. Like, what happened to the
answers.
Dog? We want answers.
We demand answers, Kevin. What happened to your dog?
But the comments roasted this man. So one guy said, "DM me, can refer you to a good therapist."
Someone else said, "I read this in a dictionary under sociopath one time."
Yeah. And then some other person said, "Some people are so poor, all they have is money." And I actually thought that was kind of profound. I don't know. I really, like, yeah. I do think people can be poor in their souls, even if they're incredibly rich. Like, that's not all that matters in life.
There's actually this philosophy under Stoicism that it's fine to be materially wealthy. It's fine to have success and money, but you are poor if you are not satisfied exactly where you are at all times. Because somebody who's always ambitious, always seeking, can never have enough, will never be happy or content in life, because you are always going to be chasing the next thing. And this has actually been a really hard lesson I've learned in recent years of my life. I was a very ambitious person. Not to say I just didn't care about anything else, but I was very, targeted in what I wanted to do with my life and where I wanted to be. And I did realize after a time period that I kept getting what I would say I wanted. I kept achieving what my next goal was, and then it would never be enough. There was always something else I wanted, some new goal, some new level. And I had to really have a reckoning around that and recognize that if I didn't sort of get a grip on it, that it would always just be chasing a white whale, right? And that's
I have the same thing. I've always been super ambitious, and I always compare myself to the best. So I'll literally, like, I don't know, people will tell me how successful they think I am, and I'm like, really? Because I this or that, and I compare myself to people who are the absolute, like, top of our field. I compare myself to the Ben Shapiro's of the world, to the Tucker Carlsons of the world, not in ideology, but in their impact they have, and I'm constantly like, well, I'm not doing anything compared to them. But then people point out, they're like, all right, but you are 25, right? you did just start a few years ago, and they've been doing it for 30 years or 20 years, and I do kind of have to remind myself that and try to be content with where I'm at, because it is advanced for my stage of my career, even if it's not, like, I don't know, I do kind of hold myself to these ridiculously high standards, and it is important to not do that. It's natural for for performers, for type A's, but I think it's a toxic mindset that we have to keep ourselves out of. But also, I just got to say, the comment section here was really funny. I've started reading the comments more on viral posts, because they really are funny. And this guy named Jay replied to Kevin and said, "At least you'll be crying in a Bugatti."
Still, though, I would like more explanation from Kevin on just exactly.
And I also want people, like, capitalism's defenders need to, like, stop giving it such a bad rap sometimes. Like yeah. I love me some good old dirty greed-based capitalism as much as the next guy, but try not to make it sound so freaking soulless. Like,
Right. And I don't think it is. To
It's
me,
not.
that's
Yeah.
never been why I've been attracted to capitalism. I'm attracted to capitalism because I think it does the most good in the world. I think it enables you to actually have the best relationships and to sort of carve out your path, right? When I was working all the time and not really making time for a relationship or even a dog, like there was a time in my life I wouldn't get a dog because I was like, I'm busy. I travel too much for work. I can't have a dog. And once I realized that, I was like, this is a choice I'm making, right? I can still be successful. And I'm like you, I compare myself constantly. And I think that's good. You can learn in that way from the best and hopefully keep improving in your craft. That's a good skill set. That's a good way of looking at the world. But again, if you're constantly in this mentality of just having to get to the next level, you won't ever be satisfied. You will sacrifice things that are really important. And you can choose under capitalism to have a healthy work-life balance. And that is something that you don't necessarily get to choose under other systems. So I wish that people like this would not write this kind of thing, because I think you're right. It plays right into the hands of like this greedy, like miserable, really cold, stripped down lifestyle where all you do is work and there is no enjoyment. And that's not an easy sell to anybody. And I actually just don't think it's accurate.
Yeah, and you're giving socialists a layup, right, to dunk on this and say, look at how bad capitalism is. But like, that's not actually a required belief to
Yeah.
love capitalism.